Today is April 30th, like 1:30ish kind of time. I can't really tell right now. What I've been doing. I read a lot yesterday, which felt really good. I read for a few hours, which I haven't done since I read Dostoevsky. It was good though, but I get like I said, like if I don't do anything in the morning, if I it's weird because like nowadays I wake up very, very early throughout the day, throughout the week, and I noticed that if I don't do anything that day, like early, if I don't do the dishes or mop or clean or rearrange my room or clean my room or do anything like that, then the entire day is gone. I'm going to stay laying in my bed. Even if I know I need to do something, I struggle with it. You know what I'm saying? I struggle with that. And I have no inside voice in the sense of like, I don't have a voice to say, do this now. Because like a child, I'll argue it and I'll argue with it and I'll be like, no, I'll do it later. Give me 15 minutes, give me 20 minutes, give me... And once it says 10:40, I'll go do it. And once it's 10:40, like once it says 10:50, and then once it's screw 11 at 1, I'll do it. Give me 2 hours, So I noticed that I get really lazy if I don't do anything. I'm trying to write again, like back in 2024. I used to write a lot, like a to-do list every morning. And then when I would wake up, I would write the date and to-do, and I would write like 4 to 6 things so I could feel productive. And, from productiveness, because you're doing something, you feel a lot happier. You feel like you matter. That's one of the things boomers can't understand. I remember, I think I saw, it was Dave, what's his name, Dave Ramsey or something. I don't have anything bad against this guy, but I remember I saw a video of his where this like young woman in her like 30s or 40s or something, she calls on his little show and he talks about debt and all that stuff. And she's like, is there a way that like I have this amount of money saved up? Is there a way that I can save up X amount, eat off of, rice, beans, and broccoli and chicken or whatnot, and very frugal and just so I can retire at 50? And then he says something like, "Oh, you shouldn't retire at 50. You should keep working, work as much as you can." And boomers say that because they get fucking retirement and shit. But it's like he says that you have to work because work gives you purpose, which is objectively true. I think that's true, but he drew the parallel that all work is equal, which I don't agree with, because he threw an example of his friend who was like a CEO or something, like made a lot of money, sold the company, made a lot of money from that. And then the rest of his, for years, decades or whatever, he got really fat, lazy, and then he died young from like a heart attack or something. And that's what there's a difference between working a meaningless job, which this woman probably works at some warehouse, where she's probably some receptionist who's doing the same thing every day, versus like, having a garden and being the shepherd of some animals and, building furniture for yourself and pottery or these kinds of things. I'm just throwing examples, creative stuff too, art, painting, songwriting, poems. It's different. These kinds of things give you more purpose than standing in front of the assembly line. But I understand both are very important. Both are, I guess, necessary. But that's besides the point, I guess, I've continued taking my ashwagandha. I've been taking it now for 2 months. I have about 7 capsules left. And don't feel anything yet. But the thing about adaptogens and these kinds of medicinal herbs, including actual pharmaceutical medications, which is like the last ditch effort, is that it's just supposed to make you feel a bit better. But I noticed that, again, it's like a lot of the things I deal with aren't just mood, but they're like life issues, which is very like duh, but it's life issues. Like sometimes I get really depressed because I'll go to my mom's room and she's like in her mid 60s and I'm in my early 20s, and she had me super late, and then my dad passed away, and then there was a lot of child abuse going on, and then my life sucks. I'm unattractive, and I missed out a lot on important things in my life, and my mom was overbearing, and she never let me leave the house. And then I became depressive because of that. I'm just like, there's no purpose. There's like, even if I get better, and let's say I buy a little plot of land out in Appalachia, and I build myself a little crappy shack and live a very simple, frugal life that my family was done before. My dad, who, it's funny because my dad and I, we were very similar. We were very similar, but he was gone. Barely saw the guy. But he, for many years, he didn't even have the internet. He just had a TV, a crappy little, like, one of those box TVs. He would watch sports on it. He would go to work. He would go fishing. And that's all he would do pretty much. Just tend to his animals, very, he had like a little farm. He actually had like a chili garden. He had a lot of chickens, goats, horses. And he would kind of he was a shepherd of that area. He would go boating on a crappy little boat and fishing and whatnot. And that's how I want to live my life. It's mainly because that's what I like. And it's very partially, because I'm aware that I failed in the city. I don't like the city. I don't want to be in the city anymore. It's interesting how you could live in a very populated area yet be chronically alone, isolated. I lost all my friends. This is years ago, but lost all my friends. No relationships. And I'm the loneliest guy, definitely in my family. I'm the loneliest man in my family. And maybe it's a good thing that I feel that, depression and stress, because maybe it's just supposed to like wake me up and say, yeah, you don't want to live your life like this. Like my brother's in his 40s. We have similar lives growing up. My brother's in his 40s, and he still works at a delivery joint. He's a delivery driver. He works the same job that high schoolers do, and that's not a bad thing. That's not to shade him. That's me feeling bad for him, because maybe he should have felt bad. Maybe he could be living a more fulfilling life. But people are different. People. Maybe he's very happy living that way. He's not, but maybe he's more content with it than he would be doing anything else. So people are different. They're complex. You're different. I'm different. We're just, people are interested in different things. I still continue to watch a lot of the things that I'm interested about. Most of the videos I watch on the internet right now are just things that I like. Homesteading, botany, gardening, cultivating, permaculture, perennials, medicinal, adaptogens. Sometimes I try to read something about Taoism because I hear a lot of good stuff about it. Haven't read that in months though. I don't know, like sometimes I think about it. You know how like horses, I was always curious on why horses are considered, or dogs are considered man's best friend, which I could see and agree why. They've been around for longer, like tens of thousands of years. They helped us a lot more. They're kind of, at least they were hunter-gatherers like we were. And then once we started like living in little tribes and whatnot, they kind of started, the nice ones would come by, eat the scraps, help out in their own little ways. But horses, I always kind of was interested in it because horses for thousands of years, I know dogs have been around for a lot longer, but thousands of years, horses have been, we used them for agriculture, for war. We would literally get on a horse, then a legion of people would go battle against another team or group of people and slaughter them and, do whatever. And horses would die in that instance too. And we would breed them and we would take care of them. We would have them on our farm, and we would everything for traveling. I mean, like, horses were pretty much ubiquitous with human progression, and after the Industrial Revolution and we started getting trains and cars and planes, and these things are cool and all, but horses were kind of just like thrown to the side, not needed. They were more of a fun time thing, and then like people just kind of recreationally, or like drive them or whatever you call them, whatever the word is for getting on a horse, gallop with them. I don't know, but maybe that's how it is for some people in modern civilization, where we're not needed because we're already facing significant population collapse. Like, most young Americans aren't, having sufficient amount of babies for the population to increase, so it's going to decrease. That's why people. That's why we take in a lot of immigrants from like third world countries or whatnot. That's why Europe has a lot of immigrants in it, stuff like that. Sweden has a lot of immigrants, all that stuff, and Russia's still struggling with that a lot. Japan was, I think, they were trying to do that. But maybe like a lot of people today, we're just kind of like what do you call it? We're like we're the horse of this generation. We're not necessary anymore. We'll die out in our own ways, and after that, we'll end up just being gone. Our lineage, and the people who it's like Darwinism or something. I don't know. The bird that's able to adapt to its surroundings, to the trees, the bird that has the sharper beak to get into the bark of the tree to get the bugs or whatever, is able to continue and further its lineage, while the bird that doesn't adapt and still has a shorter, duller beak or whatever ends up dying off. It's Darwinism, probably. I don't know. There has to be a greater reason why there's just severe. It's difficult because again, people like claim, they say, science, not science, but statistics say, this amount of percentage of young people have depression, anxiety. But I mean, how deep is that pool? How deep is it? Is it shallow? Because again, people just like, these emotions are normal, but it's just how consistent, how deep they go, what they come from, if you're able to shake it off or not. So this is purely anecdotal, I'm thinking. This is just open dialogue, but I don't really know. So yeah, I've been reading, which is pretty good. I've been writing. I want to try to. I'm making this serious so I can keep myself accountable. It's weird. It's like I have so many things I'm interested in, but finding the motivation, the willpower, or the purpose to do it, it's very difficult. But my main concern right now is just trying to get get myself to a decent enough spot to get a job again. And then once I got a job, I'll try to check out the waters. If things are still bad, then I might wave the white flag, get on Prozac or whatever. And if that, if the water, I hope the waters are good though, because I don't want to do that. I don't want to get on Prozac or whatever. What else have I been doing? I don't know. I hope this video kind of turned out a little bit more just kind of thinking instead of what I'm doing. I hope the video didn't come out pretentious. I'm not smart. I'm very dumb, actually. I'm a lot dumber than this video might seem like I'm trying to seem, if that makes sense. But yeah, just keeping myself accountable here. Hope you have a good rest of your day. If you're struggling with anything, I hope you're able to surpass that and you do very well. Hope nothing but the best for you. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.